And good morning, everybody. Welcome. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Bruce, how are you this morning?
I am well. Not as much sleep as I normally would like to get, but glad to have given it up last night. Wow. What a great game. What an absolutely phenomenal start by the Nuggets.
As the game was winding down and then Aaron Gordon hit that shot, I'll tell you what I thought of. I thought of the Avs against the Stars. Oklahoma City, like the Avalanche, better throughout the majority of the game, and then the Stars, like the Nuggets, found a way to close.
Yeah, well, they certainly did, and the chance for them to win with 10 seconds left in the game was still at like 72%. So you're absolutely right. And Oklahoma City didn't even play that well. I didn't think. They played okay, but Denver did a great job with their perseverance was just outstanding. They never allowed themselves to lose total touch with Oklahoma City, and that ended up being, to me, one of the keys in this game. They never got out there 17, 18 points down, 20, 21, where they were just constantly trying to dig themselves out of a hole. They'd get down, they'd come back a little bit, they'd fall further back, but they never lost touch. And in a game like last night, that ended up being key.
We will talk more about this as the show goes on, but I'll take what you just said and try and sum it up in a couple sentences. The Nuggets played like a team that has won a championship. And Oklahoma City played like a team, outside of Alex Caruso, played like a team that had never been there before in a big game. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Smokin' Dave's Barbecue. It is not just the best barbecue in town, it's one of the best restaurants in town. You can find Smokin' Dave's Barbecue in Denver, Lyons, Longmont, Estes Park, and Greeley.
Certainly an improbable win. This is what David Adelman told his players in the locker room after the game.
Wow. Hey, real quick, I mean this. You don't always play your best when you win. And we can play better than that. But what I loved about man today, the mentality of how you played. Every time out I sat down, I knew that you knew the game was not over. We have a chance. There's a situation. Something that can happen here. Turn the tide. And a lot of guys stepped up, man. A lot of guys. And you played for each other. And when you do that, you give yourself a chance. Crazy happens in the playoffs when you just stick to it. Stay together. All right? Newsflash. It's only one game. Yeah. It's one game. We come back in 2 days with a chance to go up 2-0. That's how we're going to prepare. Yeah. Rest your bodies. You're ready to roll for game 2.
Say whatever you want to about the Cronkies with the Comcast situation, which has been resolved. But also say this about the Cronkies. They've won a title with the Nuggets, the Avalanche, the Mammoth, the Rapids, the Rams, and I believe they won with Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. With that, Josh Kroenke and Stan Kroenke made the right decision with 3 games to go in the regular season. Here's your stat of the day, Bruce. Ready for this?
Sure.
David Adelman has more playoff wins than regular season wins. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
I was talking to Alex about this on the phone last night after the game. I've listened to a lot of Michael Malone press conferences, and he's the best coach in Nuggets franchise history.
Right.
When I listen to David Adelman talk at a post-game press conference and Malone talk at a press conference, I'm not saying they sound like different guys. And I'm certainly not suggesting that Michael Malone does not know a lot about basketball, because he does. David Adelman seems to truly understand the game at a very deep level. And you hear it in those post-game press conferences, not boring you with X's and O's, but he seems to have a very high basketball IQ and acumen for the game. And you hear that out. And then you listen to him in this post-game press conference, and you combine his knowledge of the game with the way he talks to his players, putting things into perspective in the right way and a calm demeanor. I said this the day that he was named the interim head coach. He reminds me of Mike McDaniel, and I think that is playing out. Mike McDaniel is not considered necessarily a savant, like a Sean McVay, but it seems like he's close. Right man, right time for the job, like John Fox was for the Broncos following the Josh McDaniels debacle. David Adelman, I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the series. For all I know, the Nuggets are going to get swept. But he is the right man at the right time for this job.
Yeah, I mean, he's 8-3 in the most important time of the season. Just and beyond what you just said, which is right on target, just that alone would indicate that this is the guy moving forward. You talked about something that is interesting. I was thinking about this last night and listening to some of his remarks. He does have a very good understanding of playing under the umbrella. And there's a broad view of how he looks at the game relative to the guys in his locker room. And it's a relatable way. He relates to those guys in a very positive way. But I was thinking about over the last week and a half, I've been probably in 3 different situations with him in a group setting where he did get into the minutia of the game. And I will tell you something. He's really impressive when he starts getting into spacing, where they want to go with the ball, why they want to go with the ball. Yeah.
And he's explaining that at the press conference.
Right.
That's what I mean by that's the difference between he and Malone. It's not that Malone probably didn't understand it. Of course he understood it.
Sure.
He's the son of a coach too.
Yep.
It's the way that Adelman explains it to the media makes me believe that's the way he explains it to his players.
Right.
Easy to understand. Malone was more of a rah-rah guy, or at least on the outside looking in with the way he presented himself. He was very direct, very candid, New York, East Coast type of guy. And apparently this team is responding better with Adelman.
But, Eric, it's something that is measured in the margins for me, because think about it. He spent 7-8 years with Michael Malone. He was basically his right-hand man the entire time, or certainly a good portion of that time. That he reflects largely a coaching style that Michael Malone used. I mean, he's part of the process. And he talks so warmly about Michael Malone still. But to your point, he's able to take the things around the edge and tweak them to work better from a relatability standpoint with this basketball team. There is no question right now that this team has responded extremely well to the direction and the leadership of David Adelman, also to the direction and the leadership of Nikola Jokic. We'll get into that in a little bit. But David Adelman appears to be through 11 games. And this is a remarkable thing to say about someone through 11 games. Oh, and by the way, 3 games to end the regular season, all of which were important games for home court advantage. Oh, and then now you've gone 7-8 games into the postseason. So we're making a remarkable assessment of the guy, but he seems to have kept the core of what was really good about Michael Malone and the years together that they had coaching, and has created things that make it his own. Obviously, things that he saw about relatability and communication, those types of things, and he's been able to make this team his own. It's remarkable.
Let's talk about the game specifically. 2 things that Oklahoma City did that if the Nuggets did it, the Nuggets would be widely panned, specifically locally, if not nationally. I'll ask you, for all of the blunders, not all of them, for some of the blunders that Russell Westbrook has made this season, okay? Not aware of the clock. His clock management was not on point. With about 13 seconds to go, when Oklahoma City's head coach drew up a brilliant inbounds play, SGA goes to the hoop uncontested, up by 1. If that was Russell Westbrook, and even if he hit the shot, would he have been criticized for not burning more clock, That's number one. Number two, what a huge mistake by Oklahoma City's head coach. An enormous mistake. Fouling after SGA hit those free throws. Now, that has been their strategy all year. That's what they do. Up by 3, 15 seconds to go, 10 seconds to go in the game. They will consistently foul, send the other team to the foul line so they can only hit 2 free throws. The problem is Nikola Jokic was on the bench and the Nuggets had no timeouts. Jokic was stuck there. Like playing chess, the king was cornered. Jokic was helpless on the sidelines. And OKC's coach, by fouling, allowed Jokic to come off the bench.
Yeah, and Daigneault, I thought he was very accountable afterwards. I think he understood.
He wasn't accountable at all.
I thought he was. I thought he understood. I thought he understood very clearly what the situation was. But
what he understood, maybe, and what he said were two different things.
Mm-hmm.
As we listened to the same press conference, maybe we heard it differently. What I heard him say was this: this is what we always do, but we will go back and look at the tape.
Mm-hmm.
That's not admitting fault. That's not admitting fault at all. What he said was, this is what we always do.
Well, he talked very succinctly and continually about learning. And what do you learn from? You learn from mistakes.
I don't know if
that's my interpretation. So that's where I'm at.
If he would have come out and said, yeah, I didn't realize Jokic was on the bench, and by fouling, it brought him off the bench.
It's not going to admit that. I mean,
well, what he said was, and I remember it as clear as day, he said, this is what we always do, but we will go back and look at the tape. That's all he said. He didn't say anything more.
Well, he also said that we learn. He talked a lot about learning. And what do you learn from? You learn from things that didn't work the right way. To me, and who cares? It doesn't need to be an admission. It needs for him to be an understanding so that when you are in that situation again, and you may or may not be in this series, that you at least apply yourself differently. There is no question, and you are absolutely right. Their management of the late game situation was not good. It was not good at all. And you know, you take Jokic out of the game in that first cycle. That might have been something that was criticized if the Nuggets end up going and losing that thing, and you don't have. I mean, you were fortunate to be able to get Jokic back on the floor. I mean, they might not have been able to get him back on the floor.
Could have been an Adelman mistake, right?
And so it worked.
Yeah,
it would have been Adelman's mistake. So, and that's the thin nature. That's the very thin margin between in a game that was decided literally in the last 10 seconds by a shot that had about a 32%, 34% chance of going through creates. It was remarkable. I love how games like this cast light on, at times, the most, not meaningless or unimportant, because small things combined become big things, right? And that's what we're talking about. You always look at these things in a close game. Now, how do you move on from it? I mean, what do the Nuggets take from it? They're up 1-0. We talked about it yesterday. They were playing with house money. Now they're stuffed. They're stuffed with it coming out of their pockets. Now all of a sudden I think there's tremendous pressure on Oklahoma City, not just because they're down 1-0 at home, but because they're the number 1 seed. There's expectations. There is weight of expectations when you have won 68 games in the regular season. I just think it's remarkable how the narrative now has changed for this game 2 coming up on Wednesday.
Like the Celtics against the Knicks last night. The crown on the King's head weighed heavy last night. Didn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
For both teams.
I agree. The Celtics, that was when you're up by 20 at home, gee, wait a minute. Does that have a familiar ring to it, by the way? I'll have to think about what has happened with the Nuggets in the past to see if I can remember what might have happened. Oh, yeah. Last year, similar situation, playoffs, up 20 at home. Now, that was a game 7, and I get it, different situation. But it just goes to show you, you just got to keep playing. And the Knicks just kept playing. And that was a remarkable game in and of itself. But you know what? The Nuggets did virtually the same thing. They just kept, now they weren't down 20, but they just kept playing. Their perseverance in this game and resilience was remarkable. It was next level, I thought. They won the rebounding battle 63-43. How often do you and I talk about rebounding? What is rebounding? Rebounding in defense is want to. Yes, you block out and you do things to rebound, but 63-43, they just dominated the boards. Those are effort numbers. Good stuff. And they had to have it because they had to overcome 18 turnovers. They had 18 turnovers and still won this game. Wow.
Here's the difference between what happened to the Nuggets and the Celtics. Last year with the Nuggets, this year with the Celtics. Last year with the Nuggets, it was a game 7. That was it.
Yep.
No chance for a team with championship medal to bounce back.
Yep.
Boston, with their championship medal, and they have it, they have a chance to bounce back. Now, let's bring in a third ingredient, Oklahoma City. Yes, they have the opportunity to bounce back, but they don't have that championship medal.
No.
You know, when I look at this Nuggets roster, they have 4 legitimate dogs on that team. DAWGS. And I don't know if many teams do. Jokic is one. Christian Brown is one. Murray is one. And Westbrook is one. And that's why they won. Because of those 4 guys refusing to quit. We're going to eventually get into Michael Porter Jr. Other guys shipped in. But those guys have that mentality and toughness. When I look at Oklahoma City, Lou Dort is a great defensive player. But I don't know enough about him to know, is this guy a dog? SGA, is he a dog? I would think that he is. But who else?
Yeah.
The Nuggets have those guys in spades. Oklahoma City did not. Oklahoma City, from top to bottom, is the better roster. But when you and I talked about it yesterday, I brought up 5-on-5 on the playground, no bench. All 5 guys from each team are just playing 40 minutes of basketball. Nuggets win that game.
Yeah. Well, Charles Barkley said it afterwards. I mean, almost trippingly coming out of his mouth. As long as you've got Nikola Jokic, if you've got this dude, as he referred to him, if you've got this dude going, you've got a chance in any game. Last night was a great indication. I mean, I just sit and marvel watching him play the game. And he turned it over a bunch. But my God, every time that they needed something, they needed him to back down a guy and get a basket in the lane. The three-pointer late where he hadn't been shooting the ball particularly well, but all of a sudden he lines up with confidence and strikes a three-pointer in the last minute of the game that ends up being so huge and putting them in a position with a one-score game. He just continues to do things big and small every night out that give this team a chance to win. And I would say Aaron Gordon's got a lot. I don't know if you had him on that list, but I think you've got 5 guys on there. Michael Porter Jr. is not a dog.
No, I said no. Go on, real quick. No, the dogs I said were Jokic, Murray, Westbrook, and Gordon. Those 4.
Okay. Yeah,
that's it.
There you go.
On MPJ. And then, again, that's a whole other topic. You know what another topic might eventually be? Should Westbrook replace MPJ in the starting lineup? That is a conversation we will probably have either today or tomorrow or Wednesday. With that, coming up after the break, you brought up the rebounding discrepancy. How about the offensive rebound discrepancy? And really, that is where the Nuggets won this thing. But when you look at the other side of the ledger, 12 blocks, 11 steals for Oklahoma City. How in the hell did OKC lose this game? And adding on to that, can the Nuggets see those type of numbers again and even have a prayer to win? That's next.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. And don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you got to try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Bronco Raptor or nearly $30,000 in cash the weekend of May 23rd. Get finalist entries from 10 a.m. until midnight during their daily cash drawings every 45 minutes or by redeeming player points. And all daily cash drawings that don't get picked are eligible for a second chance drawing on Wednesdays, and that can turn into extra cash. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Spice up your next night out at Nola Jane and Lodo. Authentic Cajun cuisine like andouille sausage gumbo with dirty rice, crawfish etouffee, as well as 6 different po' boys like soft-shell crab and shrimp. Come in before or after a game at Ball Arena. Host a party or party on their rooftop deck overlooking Market Street during happy hour from 11 a.m. to 5. Plus, Nola Jane caters, delivers, and the kitchen is open late night. Make Nola Jane your new favorite spot to eat, drink, and party like it's Mardi Gras.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar. Welcome back. Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl. We're going to get into the whole, and I know how much you love this conversation, MVP debate, because Nuggets win, Oklahoma City loses. Jokic wins, SGA loses. And we'll get more into that a little bit later on, because when you have both guys on the court, even though they're not playing against each other, that means something. We'll get into that in a little bit. But first, I want to tell you about Nola Jane. If you love authentic Cajun cuisine, this is absolutely the place to go. It is right down the street from Ball Arena. So when the Nuggets come home, great place to pre-party and to post-party as well. Started off with a hurricane, real juices, not loaded up with sugar like they do with a hurricane at Pat O'Brien's. And if you want amazing food, you need to go there. For starters, and I have no problem saying this because I've eaten a lot all over the world like you have, their crawfish etouffee might be one of the best things I've ever had in my life. Ever. It is really that good. And you put it over blackened catfish, tremendous. Award-winning sausage gumbo, outstanding. You're going to love their cornbread. They have 6 different po' boys. It is authentic Cajun cuisine at its finest. Get a taste in New Orleans, right down the street from Ball Arena. Go there anytime, lunch or dinner, but make sure you go down there to pre- and post-game party when the Nuggets are back in town to take on OKC. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Nola Jane in the heart of Lodo. No one does Cajun cuisine better than Nola Jane. Go see why their award-winning menu is the best in town.
Bruce, you brought up the rebounding discrepancy. We talked about it briefly in the first segment. On the offensive glass, the Nuggets out-rebounded on the offensive side the Thunder 21-13. But here's some other numbers that really stick out. 12 steals and 11 blocks. How much more impressive is this win considering defensively the way Oklahoma City played with just those two categories? I don't know if I've seen too many games where a team has done that. Blocks and steals.
Yeah, the Nuggets won in the most unconventional ways last night. When you look at the metrics, if you look at statistics standing alone, obviously the 121 they scored, that's their sweet spot. We've talked about this a lot in the postseason. It's been tougher, but now it's starting to loosen up a little bit. And they've scored 120 plus in the last couple of games. 3 of the last 5 games or 4 games, something like that, and they're winning games. When they score, they can win. But to your point, when you turn the ball over the way that they turn the ball over, and you look at some of these numbers, you think, well, they don't have a chance to win games unless they do things like the work on the glass, getting second chance points, getting second opportunities. Those little things can change the look and the complexion of a game. And it changed it just enough last night to give them a 2-point win in, I'm not going to say the most unlikeliest of fashions, although Holmgren missing 2 free throws, which I think surprised the Nuggets so much that they didn't even grab the rebound. It ended up being a team rebounded because the ball hit the floor and then off they went on the break. It was just a remarkable effort. And don't forget that they outscored them by 7 points at the line too. And they shot better than 80% at the line. That was a very meaningful statistic down the stretch as well. And it was one of the ways that they kind of stayed close. And we talked about that. Staying close in this game gave them a chance to win the game late.
Jokic, 42 points, 22 rebounds, 6 assists, 18 points in the fourth quarter. Some people build this game as MVP versus MVP. And I know it is a regular season award. Let's be very clear about this after watching Oklahoma City last night and really watching Oklahoma City all year. If you take SGA out of the lineup for the full 82 games, Oklahoma City is a top 6 seed. Easily a top 6 seed. All due respect to Murray and Gordon and so on and so forth. You take Jokic out of the lineup, the Nuggets are hoping for a frozen envelope in the lottery.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if Jokic has been a minus 16 plus minus in any game this season, but SGA was yesterday. He put up some big numbers, 38 points, 10 rebounds, so on and so forth. To me, this isn't even a conversation. It's a joke of a conversation. Who's the best player in the world? Even people who say they're voting and did vote for SGA would agree Jokic is the best player in the country.
Yeah.
Everybody says it, even those who have voted for him, talking about SGA. Then what's the definition of MVP? The guy who, I don't know, means the most to his team. You take him off the roster. What does your team look like? But now we seem to have a third category. How many wins you have? I remember when Andre Dawson won the MVP for the Cubs in 1987, and the Cubs had a losing record. I'm not saying that's the way people should vote. People have Jokic fatigue. You know, it's funny. When Gobert had like 28 points and 20 rebounds, you would have thought that, you know, this should lead every sports show in the country. That almost feels like a typical night for Nikola Jokic, doesn't it?
You don't ever take it for granted. Jamal Murray was asked about that on the national broadcast last night. I think Jamal gets a little tired about talking about Nikola Jokic, but maybe that's a story for another day. I think he has great appreciation for it, but almost every single time that he is on and that he is being interviewed after a game, inevitably someone will ask about Nikola Jokic and playing with Nikola Jokic. So
only by those who don't cover the team.
Right, exactly.
Because they're looking for their soundbite as a member of the OKC media or even on TNT.
Yeah.
I mean, the Nuggets are on national television plenty, But that question is always asked when Jokic has a big game.
Yeah, it inevitably is. But, here we are. I mean, there is no question who the best player on the floor was last night. There's no question about who the best player is.
Who is the second best player on the floor?
I thought Aaron Gordon. I thought Aaron Gordon.
Alex Caruso is the second best.
Alex. Yeah, okay. I mean, I'd listen to that. I would listen to. Yeah, he kept them. He was their force.
It wasn't. Here's the point. It's not a knock against Aaron Gordon, but I'm sorry, a guy coming off your bench should not be the best player on your team in a playoff game. Okay, when you have the guy who is the MVP of the league. Guy coming off your bench. Remember how I said that. Guy coming off your bench. In the playoffs, Jamal Murray went off. Jokic still contributed greatly, right? Another triple-double. Could you imagine if Peyton Watson had a better game than Nikola Jokic in a playoff game? Can you imagine if Russell Westbrook had a better game than Nikola Jokic in a playoff game? Sorry, pal, you're not the MVP. You're not the MVP if one of your guys coming off the bench had a more impactful game than you did. SGA is a great player. They won 68 games.
Well, that's kind of that's part of the reason they won 68. Because,
you know what, though? Okay. You know what, though? The same knuckleheads who voted for SGA also felt both the Clippers and Lakers would be playing in the second round. That should tell you how much they know about basketball. Right? The Clippers are going to beat the Nuggets. And the Timberwolves, they're not going to beat the Lakers. The Lakers have LeBron and Luka. They were wrong about that, and they're wrong about this with the MVP. They just are. And I'm not trying to relitigate this, and we'll see what happens in the next game. Maybe SGA goes off for 50. That's fine. The best player in the world is Nikola Jokic. The most valuable player to his team is Nikola Jokic. I'm glad we now have a third category, which should be called the 68 win rule. You win 68 games, you will be the MVP of the league.
Well, the rules of what an MVP are, the definition of an MVP there's never been a black and white version of it. It's always been translatable, right?
Okay, hold on. Let me ask you a question. Had Jokic never won an MVP before? Because there is Jokic fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest. Do you think Jokic would have won? Had he never won an MVP? Triple-double for the year.
Probably. I mean, I think he's going to carry a lot of the vote anyway. I think it's going to be close, but my point is that there are so many things now on the fringe of what MVP voting is. You just talked about it, and you're absolutely right. Jokic fatigue, which is in and of itself unfair. The guy arguably, maybe not even arguably, has had the best year of his career, and he's won 3 MVPs. Okay, I mean, connect the dots there. But you've got, to your point as well, you've got SGA, who's never won it. SGA, the best player on the best team. SGA, it's a different guy than giving it to Nikola Jokic. All of these things ridiculously are acceptable for some reason in voting for the MVP, because there's not a fast and firm definition of what the most valuable player is. It can be the best player, the perception of the best player, not necessarily the most valuable player. Don't ever tell me that Nikola Jokic isn't the most valuable player to his team of any player playing in the NBA, period.
This is the problem with the national media, specifically the people at ESPN, who, by the way, not surprisingly, led their 6 a.m. show with the Knicks against the Celtics.
Sure.
Shocker of shockers. People out there in Bristol, all right, and I anchored nationally, so I can maybe fall into that category, but I don't think that I did. We want sexy to talk about. The Cowboys are sexy. The Lakers with LeBron, that is sexy. The way SGA plays, that is sexy. Everybody wants to date the sexy hot chick. I'd rather date the good-looking chick with the great personality. Still good looking enough. Still good looking enough for me. And that is Nikola Jokic. But out there, they want the sexy story. And that's how the voters vote.
Yeah.
And Perkins, well done picking the Lakers, dumbass.
Well, and that should give you, and that's exactly what we're talking about. That's why the MVP can be perverted, simply for those reasons. I mean, ESPN has an agenda. Okay, that's fine. That's their agenda, whatever. But that's how it gets off kilter.
I mean, think about the world that we live in right now, okay? Seriously, when you have a huge microphone in front of you and you yell the loudest, people are going to ask you if you are running for president. How fucked up is that? Seriously, you have a guy who's got a big mouth and a big microphone, and he is on news shows. And people are asking him if he's running for president of the United States.
Well, I know one thing. I'm going to be careful about, because we're loudmouths with microphones, so I got to be careful about where we.
No, don't compare me and you to this guy, and we know who this guy is. I mean, I don't refer to myself as Eric M. Goodman. Do you refer to yourself as, excuse me for letting the cat out of the bag here, as Jacob B. Haertl? Because that is your legal name. Are you JB? Jacob B? Are you Jacob B. Haertl? No, that's your God-given name. Should I start calling you JB? What's up, JB?
No, we're good. We're
right.
Good. We're good. We don't need that. Believe me.
But what kind of a world do we live in that a guy who thinks SGA is the MVP is now being asked if he's running for president of the United States? I don't know how he took this hard right turn, but
yeah, I don't either.
These are your SGA voters because they want to yell the loudest and they have the biggest microphone and they get caught up by looking at the shiny object out there and they just can't keep their eye off it and they just can't stop talking about it.
It's not going to bother me if SGA is the MVP because I understand the way that it has been. That the definition of what MVP has been shaped and how different it looks in the hands of different voters. It doesn't change the fact that Nikola Jokic is who he is, and who he is the best player in the world. And by the way, not only is he the best player in the world, there's unanimity. It's a unanimous vote. You talk to basketball people anywhere now. SGA may end up being the MVP. He's not the greatest player in the world. That player resides in Denver, Colorado, and Sombor, Serbia in the offseason, period.
Let's leave it with this as a tease for tomorrow. Russell Westbrook had another terrific game, and it was cool that he got a standing ovation when he came on the floor in Oklahoma City. But for all of the knuckleheaded decisions that Russell Westbrook has been accused of, and I think it's less than many people think. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would say so. He's been part of the answer, not part of the problem.
I was thrilled that he gave up the ball to Aaron Gordon and didn't try and play hero all by himself. Now, granted, even though Aaron has been very good at hitting threes this year, I don't know why he lined up there when they were only down by one. He hit the shot, that's great. But that was good decision-making by Russell Westbrook. Because could you imagine if he would have taken that shot with Aaron Gordon wide open, all of the good things that he has done in the playoffs would have been summed up by Russell Westbrook blew the game by being selfish.
He made a good decision.
Yep.
And the right decision, it turned out, at the right time.
Yep.
Margin for error in that situation is so thin, but it all worked out. And you know what? The Nuggets are up 1-0 on the road heading to game 2. And Eric, I will leave you with this. Let's not forget, the Nuggets are 3-2 against Oklahoma. Now, just bear with me on this. They're 3-2 against Oklahoma City, and 2 of those wins have come on the road. You and I talked a little bit yesterday about, and it's not by a huge amount, but I think the matchup in this series is actually slightly better than the matchup was in the series against the Clippers. I just think that Jokic's matchup with the 2 big guys, and I thought Hartenstein did a pretty good job on him last night for a good portion of the game. But I think his ability to score, he will eventually create as well in this series, is much more available to him than it was in the last series against the Clippers and Zubac.
Right. We will talk more about that tomorrow. Make the best possible day you can.